Kenya's Agriculture Ministry defines smallholder farmers as those working on farms between 0.5 and 5 hectares. This accounts 70 to 80% of the country's farming community, which mostly depends on rainfall, which is among the major challenges affecting the increasingly technological agricultural sector in Kenya. Other challenges include poor soils, low quality inputs such as seeds and fertilizer, poor markets and infrastructure, pests and diseases.
The one thing that comes out strongly is most farmers, they don't know why they farm, what they farm. I spot check with most of the farmers. They will tell you that I farm what I farm today because I found my great-great-parents doing it. And that in itself is a challenge, because if you keep on doing what you found your people doing and you don't know why you're doing, then chances are that you're just doing it for the sake of doing it. And remember, as I said, we would want to make farming a profitable activity for the smallholder farmer. So the other major issue is, beyond just knowing what they need to farm, the quality of input that farmers get today is substandard to some extent. The affordability of those input, again, is not always guaranteed. And the other issue that we picked out in the market was, of course, a credit issue that I mentioned, that under 1% of the farmers actually has access to credit. Insurance is also an issue. When farmers go out in the farm and they plant, in the event there's an issue that comes up, then farmers also struggle to recover some of the input or the effort they had put in the market. And of course, lastly but not the least, actually for me this is the most important thing, is access to market. On one side, you have producers or processors who are saying that they are struggling with raw materials. But if you speak to any typical farmer today, they will tell you their biggest headache is, once they produce, where do they take their produce? And I will just point you to a case that was in the newspapers, I think about 3 weeks ago, where we had farmers in Laikipia who are feeding tomatoes to cows. And at the same time, we had a shortage of tomatoes in Nairobi and Kisumu. In Nairobi, one tomato was actually going for 15 shillings. In Kisumu, I'm reliably informed that it was going for 35 shillings. So you can just see the mismatch, where the excesses that farmers have is not finding its way where it's supposed to go.
Despite this, venture capitalists around the world invested more than $2 billion in agriculture technology startups between 2014 and 2015. This trend is expected to rise due to the high demand for innovative farm technology, and when innovators show results, modern farmers are more than willing to embrace these inventions and techniques. Some of the agricultural innovations popular at the moment are soil and moisture sensors, online weather tracking, satellite imaging, vertical farming, and smart brooders. This is to mention but a few. The lack of farming technology, especially for rural farmers to help produce more and make a better living, is still a challenge. It is on these gaps that agricultural technologies are giving various remedies to avert low crop yields.
The starting point is just to build what I call a scientific data of the farmers, to understand, if I'm a farmer located in a particular area, we get into a point to understand what is the climatic condition of that area, what is the soil that farmers are in, what are the weather patterns that the farmers experience in that region, where are they located, and out of that we're hoping that we're going to work with like-minded partners to actually come to a point where we can tell, in a particular region of the country, these are the types of crops that should be planted there, because scientifically it has been proven that all the climatic and all the conditions that are necessary for that crop or that animal, whatever it is, they can actually work better in that region. That will ensure that now we're moving away from farming for the sake of farming to what we call precision farming. And precision farming is where you're leveraging on enough data to be in a position to know what you should be farming at any given time. Now, that will be important in the sense that as we start focusing on building access to market, I'll be in a position now to guide a selected group of farmers to tell them, in your location, this is what you should be planting. Now, once I inform you that, the next thing, of course, is to equip you with the equipment or the tools that you need for you to farm whatever we told you to farm. And that is where input becomes a critical issue. So for us, assuming now we take a crop, the vision that we have is actually to come and give that smallholder farmer some quality seeds that have been certified and that we believe can do well in that region. And once we give you that seed, the next thing is also to provide you with access to the other ingredients that you need to produce that crop. So could it be fertilizer, could it be pesticides, anything that you need will also be in a position to provide to you as a farmer. Related to that is we'll also now give you information that allows you to use those inputs, that pesticide, the way you should do. And one of the key things that we are hoping to do is in the platform called Digifarm is a farmer will come into the platform and say on a particular day they have planted this type of a crop. And immediately we see a trigger of what I'm calling a lesson or a tutorial. That from day one, the farmer will be able to know what they're supposed to be doing. If you're supposed to apply this fertilizer, you apply it this way, this is the quantity you should be applying. If it's a pesticide you're supposed to be spraying, you should spray it this way and on this particular time and this how, whatever information you need. And that information now will be available to work with you from the day you planted up to the time of harvest.
The acceptance of new agricultural technology or inventions by rural farmers is often hindered by their fear of letting go of traditional subsistence farming methods practiced by their ancestors. Ezekiel Kimeli is a subsistence farmer from Kapsowek village of Elgeyo Marakwet County. He has been a beneficiary of the Digifarm integrated mobile platform.
There's sometimes way back 3 years ago, Digifarm came. We had a public baraza at a set where our MCA's office is there. So they informed us about Digifarm. Then most people were a bit reluctant because they have that notion of mtu akitoka nje na alete story kama hii ni pengine ni ukora. So few people registered. But what they started with, they bought first the potatoes that were available at a good price. That is when people started appreciating. The main setback since Digifarm came is that there are some people masquerading as brokers. They try and give people false information that Digifarm is not good or it is there to squander you people or to take advantage. That's when you realize that the communication from Digifarm is a bit vital, so they come with barazas and explain everything to the farmer. That's when Digifarm started gaining roots in their community. Advantage is that does help us get good markets for the potatoes. Like they have started with potatoes, that's the first step that they have done. They have brought us farm inputs using loans, Mavuno loans, and many people have taken them, and it has really helped them a lot.
Unscrupulous traders and brokers in the agricultural sector have remained a menace to farmers countrywide. They reap practically over 60% of the earnings meant for the farmer. To protect themselves from the broker, younger farmers have resulted in using social media to market their produce. This, however, is not foolproof, and hence the need for more integrated mobile-based platforms where farmers can get quality inputs such as seeds, fertilizer and manure, pesticides, weather information, finance and ready markets for their produce.
68% of value in farming is actually pocketed by a broker or the retailer. Ours is to ensure that we increase the share the farmer is getting from 32%, if possible, to the 68%. And then Safaricom and all the other interested parties are going to benefit with the 32%. That way now you are uplifting the lives of the smallholder farmer and you make them profitable. We'll also work with the insurance companies to ensure that we have an insurance package that supports the farmers in the event there is an issue.
Before Digifarm came, I still remember in way back 2016, a bag of 100 kg of potato bag was going at 600 or 700. That was exploitative. But when Digifarm came and bought the first harvest, they bought at a very good price. That was 40 shillings per kilo. In a 70 kg bag, you expect 2,800. You see, 2,800 in a 70 kg bag. That was the first price. Now, if you compare with what the brokers used to buy, they used to bought at 700, 400 kilos. So you see, now you have a high double profit, triple profit margin. That's what then people started appreciating. The main problem that Digifarm experienced is the market availability, because they aid us in getting the buyers so that you can buy, but you have to see the market dynamics again. The third time they bought at 2,500 for 50 kg bag, 60 kg bag. That was the third time. The fourth time, this is the one now we have planted. Now we are still waiting for them. Yeah, but if you compare with the brokers, what they are buying is that the broker currently, you can see that they package big sacks, which the country are prohibited, but they'll come and tell you, if you can't sell us through this sack, we are not buying. Some farmers now become desperate with the money, so they'll give that a big bag and at a low price. Like that bag of 120 kg, they'll sell at 800, you see. That's how they're being exploited. But Digifarm has really helped us from that.
Mkulima Tech believes that technology helps remove the guesswork in farming. Besides earning from their crops, farmers can increase their farm's productivity as they receive technical advice and financial advice geared to their specific needs. The farmer literally sells what they sow.
Nowadays, we farmers, you have no worry about what we produce at the farm, because when you plant, you are assured that you'll get a good market by the help of Digifarm. Unlike old days that you have to gamble out. You say, I can plant potatoes this way, but I don't know what the price will that be during that time of harvest. But you have really helped us. Number two, most farmers have taken advantage of the Mavuno loan. It has really helped, because the planting season are mainly January, February, and that's during that time is that students are also going to school. So you find out that students, the farmer is contemplating between paying the fee and buying the farm input. But when you get the loan, you say, let me deal with the fees first, then the farm input can help me with the loan, so I'll pay later. That will really help farmers.
Smart farming is key to developing sustainable agriculture, and this can only be enabled by use of data in the sector.
Under 1% of the smallholder farmer has access to credit because most of the financial institutions do not have a proper database to actually, manage to do a proper credit score so that they can give farmers credit. The other statistic that is of interest is around 28% of the farm produce is actually wasted post-harvest. And this is because of various reasons like storage, lack of, where the farmers can take the produce. And the other one is the processors themselves actually struggling to get enough, raw materials to produce whatever they need to do. So in a nutshell, that is a challenge that we are facing. And what we're asking ourselves as Safaricom is, how can we leverage on technology to actually overcome some of these challenges? And for me, if I may say, the vision of the purpose that we have is to build what we're calling a social economic business model.
Mkulima Tech will be right back after this short commercial break.